Good morning. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. This Corgi needs a bath. So today is the Ashfield Corgi picnic later this afternoon, where there's like no internet connection. So I can't do a broadcast live from there, although I think I've tried in the past and it's just been sketchy. But there's something else that's come out this week that I think is really important for us as dog and animal people to think about. And that is this new study finding that we have less patience lately than we used to. And I'm like, yeah, maybe because of the phones and, instant work on the computer. And I'll never forget when my friend powered up my computer when I first got it in like 2001, and it took a minute. He was very impatient and said that was intolerably long. Now it still takes about 30 seconds, which is longer than others. And I saw one computer's selling promo saying that it will power up in less than 10 seconds, which is not very much time. So what this study found out was that the average person's patience is about 12 seconds. And that if you have to sit in a stoplight or wait for somebody to pull out, or any of these things that happen when you're driving, for longer than that, you immediately have a higher blood pressure and you start to get enraged, which explains a lot about driving on the roads. I'm sure all of us have seen this. And 12 seconds isn't very long. If you sit there and look at your clock and time 12 seconds, that's only a few breaths. But it is enough to have people be angry because they want things instantly. Now, how does this translate to working with our animals? People have told me my whole life that I have limitless patience. Like they can't even see an end to the amount of patience I have when someone's trying to learn, or when I'm working with an animal or a situation that's difficult. I am sure I get this from my mother, who was a first grade teacher for 35 years. And to me, 12 seconds is so small. My patience goes weeks, not 12 seconds. But when you're working with an animal, for instance, let's say you're training your dog to sit and you're holding a treat up and walking it back, trying to get his butt on the ground. If your dog is like Tristan and pretty smart and trained to do that, 12 seconds is nothing. He will do that perfectly. But if you've got other kinds of breeds, or a dog with stifle problems, hip problems, back problems, tail problems, paw problems, digestive problems, sitting is not going to be that comfortable. It's not going to be that easy, and they're not going to want to do it. So the question becomes not, are they so dumb they're not sitting, but are they so uncomfortable that they can't do what you're asking? And all of training dogs is our stupidity in trying to figure out how to communicate with them what we'd like them to do. They are pretty willing to do things when we make that clear. And I know this from years and years of experience with Linda Tellington and working with, supposedly some of the most difficult horses and dogs that people have. And I have worked with some animals that were so dangerous. This giant mule was so dangerous. And the poor people that owned him, they were just really struggling. But what it took was more than 12 seconds of patience. And part of having that patience is backing it up. If you're asking your dog to do something so hard that he can't do it, and it might not be sitting, it might be something else, then you need to make that thing easier. So maybe you'll start, let's say we'll take the sitting example because it's easy, with getting your dog just to shift his weight back, or just lift his head up, or if you wait long enough, maybe he'll sit voluntarily, or maybe you'll be smart enough to see that sitting is hard for him and put something behind him, like a little pillow, so that when he sits, he's not sitting on the floor. Or maybe you'll put him on a carpet instead of a slippery area, so that sitting becomes easier for him. So, of course, we all teach our dogs to sit, and we think that's pretty easy for them. But, in general, sitting is not something that dogs do very readily when they are left to their own devices. They're sleeping or they're up. So it's not a given that every dog will sit and that it's easy for them. But when you're working with animals, and especially when you're training them, you need patience. 12 seconds is nothing. Another book I'm reading now that I really recommend, all the books by Stanley Cohen. He's such a great dog researcher. He's a psychologist. And he was talking about, in the book I'm reading right now, about dogs learning from other dogs. And in like 3 repetitions, especially if the dog is watching a dog he knows do something, he learns it and he does it. It takes like 100 repetitions to learn something from a person. Now, they were trying to say this is evidence of dog intelligence. Of course it is. But why is it easier for a dog to watch another dog sitting? Because they have the language. We're saying sit and holding a treat, and the dog's like, okay, what kind of thing should I do? Pick up my paw, turn in a circle, go in the other room, jump up. What the heck are they asking me to do? But if another dog who knows that sits, they're like, oh, this is how they get us to sit. They do that. Okay, I'll sit. Maybe I'll get more treats. So it's way easier for a dog to learn from another dog, which is why these training programs they have all over the country now at different dog schools for puppies and older dogs are so beneficial, because there's always at least one dog, if not the instructor usually has a trained dog there so that the other dogs can see. And I've been in so many puppy training classes where the trainer's in the middle of the room with a trained dog, and we're all sitting around in a circle with our little dogs next to us, and they do several demonstrations. Sometimes they'll grab a dog from the group and do a demonstration. And what are the other dogs doing? One might be playing and rolling around and eating his leash, but 99% of them are watching what that dog is doing, going, okay, I see what they want me to do. And then they try to do it. And so, if you have no patience with your training, maybe your other dog will have the patience that you don't have, which is one reason a lot of people like to get a second dog while they still have the first dog, because it's really a lot easier. They go out, they see the other dog pee somewhere, and now they know that's where they're supposed to pee. It's so simple. Danny, what is it? I have more, or I need more patience now than I used to. Yeah, well, a lot of us as we get older either have more patience or less patience. And so part of why this is important to me today in particular is because this is the week of my good friend Patience's birthday. And Patience was named Patience because her mom had complications with the pregnancy and was bedridden for months. And so she needed a lot of patience to wait for my friend Patience to come into the world. So Patience is particularly relevant now. But when we're with our animals, we need so much patience. And as they age, there is a problem with some dogs getting dementia and getting confusion. And also with people, we don't work with our older dogs as much as we used to. If you've got a dog that's over 10 years old, get some of those dog puzzles or make your own. Put treats under a bunch of paper cups and make a little maze and let them walk around and try to figure out which ones have the treats and eat them. Try to think of things that would be the equivalent of you doing Jeopardy or crossword puzzles when you're 87 so that your dog has constant mental stimulation. As dogs age, they are quieter, they lay around more, they learn our routine, and we don't engage them. We don't try to teach them new things, but in fact, old dogs can learn new tricks and they like it and it's beneficial for them. Tristan is 9. And, I just started doing competitive agility with him, and I've got quite a few things set up in the yard for him. I've just started doing rally with him, and he does not act like, he's got any different kind of ability to learn that than he did when he was 2. And it's really important that we stimulate our old dogs, and that may take some patience. If your dog is 12 or 13 and has been laying around the house, it's going to take a little while to get him to learn things like teach him to heel, teach him to weave between your legs, teach him to down. You can go on the AKC website and look at the trick dog certification titles, and they have like 30 lists for every level of tricks that you can teach your dog. And some of them are, to me, really hard to train. Like go to your bed, pick up the blanket and put it over your body. I don't know how you teach a dog to do that. I mean, I guess you would start teaching them to shake a blanket, and then, of course, they can easily learn to go to their bed, putting treats there. But to shake the blanket and get it on them, that's a little bit tricky. But that's where our patience comes in. And when we ask our dogs to do something, like my neighbor was in a hurry to walk her dog the other day, and the dog kept stopping and stopping and stopping, and she didn't want to come. And she's a terrier. They sometimes do this. But it turned out the dog had kind of an indigestion and was having diarrhea. And then the owner felt terrible for trying to drag her when the dog was like shopping for a spot and then seeing what was coming. And, So try to have patience even in a simple thing like walking your dog. Another person I know lets her dog run the walk every time they walk. The dog sniffs, she visits other dogs, she visits other people. They have a general direction they're going in, but they may only go a very short way because that dog is in charge of the walk. What a brilliant gift to give our dogs. I encourage everyone to do that at least once a week. But that dog is lucky because she gets to do what she wants to do, and her person has a lot of patience. And of course, the dog is little, and if the person has to, run to work or something, they can pick the dog up and carry her home, as was the same with my terrier friend. But sometimes they're showing us that they need something, and we just need to have a little bit more patience with them. So try to give your dogs more than 12 seconds of your attention when you're asking them to do things, whether that be coming in, going for a walk, sniffing something, playing catch, teaching them a new trick. But try to give them time. I mean, after all, they give us their entire lives, and we are so, 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 so lucky that these magnificent things choose to live with us, because I don't know what we would do without them. They have so many things to teach us, and we are so fortunate that these beautiful things want to be in our lives. So give them more than 12 seconds, and maybe the people in your life need more than 12 seconds as well. Yeah, and try to be calm when your phone and your computer and your stoplights are not working. I timed the stoplights on my way to work the other day because I have a lot of them, and I have to wait like 5 times through them. Of my 31 minutes to work, 8 miles away, I spent 17 minutes sitting in lights. I was like, good thing I'm patient, or I'd be pretty cranky. Angel says when she walks her dogs, it's their time. No phones. Oh yeah, phones on a walk is another problem. Unless you're taking cute pictures of your dog at the park. And after all, Angel, as all of us know, walking our dogs is some of the best time we have every day. So let's make it fun for us and them. Ooh, what was that? So we're going to pack up and get ready to go up to Ashfield, Mass for the Corgi picnic. I love this one because 25, 30 Corgis get to run free in the middle of nowhere, and they all get along and have a good time. It's, a lot of these things, the dogs are all on leashes, and it's difficult, and the people are eating, and the dogs are cranky. But this one's pure Corgi fun. All right, we'll see you guys soon. We will try to come back tomorrow. My schedule is still a little in flux, but thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.